So picture this, New York City's most secure federal jail. We're talking about a fortress, basically, designed to hold the world's most dangerous men. But on one very specific night, in one very specific wing, two cameras just mysteriously malfunctioned. And the two guards who were assigned to watch the nation's most high-profile inmate, yeah, they fell asleep. At the center of this completely impossible failure was one man, Jeffrey Epstein, the world's most connected predator. And on the morning of August 10th, 2019, he was found dead. Now, the official story was suicide, but the whole world immediately started asking a much, much darker question. Was it suicide, or was he silenced? We have to start with the unbelievable circumstances of his death, because everything, and I mean everything, hinges on just how convenient it was for so many powerful people. So here's the crucial point. The medical examiner officially ruled it a suicide by hanging, but the facts just screamed otherwise. I mean, he was taken off suicide watch just days before this happened. The cameras failed, the guards slept for hours and then falsified records to cover their tracks. It starts to feel less like some tragic failure and a lot more like a planned opportunity. So how did one man become so powerful, so dangerous, that his death alone could spark a global conspiracy theory? Well, to understand that, we have to look at the spider's web he spent decades building, a massive network of unimaginable wealth, influence, and incredibly dark secrets. 72. That's how many acres Little St. James was, his own private kingdom in the Caribbean, a place that survivors and even locals had a much grimmer nickname for, Pedophile Island. And oh, it didn't stop there. He also owned a 75,000-acre ranch in New Mexico, one of the largest private homes in Manhattan, and a luxury apartment in Paris. This wasn't just wealth, you see, this was a global operation. But where did it all come from? Well, Epstein actually started out as a math teacher. He leveraged a job on Wall Street to eventually manage the money of billionaires, people like Leslie Wexner, the founder of Victoria's Secret. And just like that, he became the keeper of their financial secrets, the man who knew everything. And this is how he connected his different worlds. He had a private Boeing 727, which got the infamous nickname the Lolita Express, and he used it to ferry the rich and powerful and his young victims between all his properties. And if you look at the flight logs, it reads like a who's who of global power. Bill Clinton flew on that jet at least 26 times. Donald Trump was a friend back in the 90s. Prince Andrew's connection to Epstein would eventually cost him his royal title. Bill Gates, Hollywood stars, top scientists, they were all in his orbit. Which brings us to the darkest theory of all. Was this network built on charm, or was it built on blackmail? When the FBI raided his properties, they found stacks of CDs and photos, which just fed this terrifying suspicion that he was collecting compromising material on all of his powerful guests. I mean, did he have dirt on everyone? Before we could find out, the story took a stunning twist. Because this wasn't the first time the system had a chance to stop him. The story of Jeffrey Epstein is also the story of justice being denied, and then, against all odds, being demanded back. This was a long, long fight. It started way back in 2005 with a really brave survivor named Courtney Wild. But in 2008, when he should have been facing life in prison, the whole case got derailed by a secret deal. It took 10 years of silence before investigative journalism just blew it wide open, which finally led to his final arrest in 2019. So he was facing federal charges that carried a life sentence. But Epstein's lawyers and the U.S. attorney at the time, Alexander Acosta, cut this secret sweetheart deal. It was an incredibly lenient plea bargain that protected him. The result? He served just 13 months in a county jail with a work release that let him go back to his office during the day. Unbelievable. You know, the twist in this story, the moment that really changed everything, wasn't in a courtroom. It was the Perversion of Justice series by a Miami Herald reporter named Julie K. Brown. Her reporting exposed that secret deal to the world, sparked massive public outrage, and forced federal prosecutors in New York to finally act. Epstein was dead, but his crimes left a ghost in the machine. A huge network of accomplices and a mountain of secret files that people are still fighting to uncover today. With Epstein gone, the focus immediately shifted to his chief accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. She wasn't just a girlfriend. Prosecutors and survivors called her the mastermind. She used her elite social standing to recruit and groom vulnerable young girls, acting as the bridge between their world and Epstein's. They arrested her while she was hiding out on a remote farm on July 2nd, 2020. And there has been some kind of reckoning. Maxwell was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Prince Andrew was stripped of his titles and paid millions to settle a lawsuit. A victim compensation fund has paid out over $121 million to survivors. But this is far from the full picture. The fight for transparency has now reached Congress. In a really rare show of unity, Republicans and Democrats passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act, and it sets a hard deadline of December 19th, 2025, for the government to release all the related documents. Why is that so important? Because while we've seen a few thousand pages released, there are still over 1 million pages of documents related to this case under seal. 1 million pages of secrets. And that's really the crucial point we're left with. Jeffrey Epstein is dead. His top accomplice is in jail. But the full scope of his network remains a mystery, locked away in court records. So the final question isn't just what Epstein did, but who did it with him? What names are still hidden inside those files?